enjoying playing, and I'm getting lost in the world.
Is it still playing on YouTube?
Now it is.
I mean, is it still playing on Facebook?
I don't know.
Looks like it is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's because of this song. I got 5 on it played.
Oh my God, is that a butt of Chud?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, go watch your thing. Okay. She's watching Vampirina.
That Cannibal Holocaust NES cover is fucking sweet.
Wait, what? There's a Cannibal Holocaust.
Here we go. 3. Oh, wait. Not yet.
Earlier.
Oh, yeah, I gotta play the intro.
It's on the Horror Syndicate Facebook, Mike. Just scroll down the page a little bit.
There. Sorry, I fucked up. I forgot the intro. Here we go.
So
that game would get really hard once you get to the river turtle.
We're gonna do a little bit of the horror noir, right?
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Since you guys have seen it, yeah, that would be a good discussion.
Well, no, I mean talking about Black History Month and in horror, and then a little bit of women in horror. So just we'll wing it a little bit. Mike, I don't know if you saw. I got these today.
Wait, 1 second. That cover is fucking hilarious. Oh hell yeah! I don't have pieces. I have the Grindhouse DVD of it, like the 2-disc.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the Blu-ray. Like, I wanted to get the Blu-ray that had the puzzle with it, but I was like, it was too much money. And then I'm like, I like pieces, but at the time I wasn't.
$20.
That's it?
I wanted the puzzle piece. I didn't get it.
I'm cool with this. It's got the soundtrack with it. $20 though.
Yeah, I got that.
Like Pieces is a garbage movie that I think is fun.
I love it.
Here we go. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Horror Syndicate. THS lives here tonight. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright, or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared Letourneau. Hold on real quick. And Jared, good evening.
Good evening, Brian, and all you guys at home. You guys can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on Twitter at zombie_survivor.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have award-winning director of I'm Dreaming of the White Doomsday, Mike Lombardo. Mike, good evening.
Hi, Brian. I just want to clarify real quick for some people, because I know there have been questions. It is in my rider that I'm called award-winning director Mike Lombardo. That's not because he's being nice. That is required in my contract to say that.
Yeah, you had your name changed and everything.
Absolutely. I am... I don't know what the hell you were saying. I'm so fried.
You lost your train of thought, but it's okay.
You can find me at realsplatter.com. That's a reel with 2 E's, like a reel of film, because we shoot digitally, so that makes sense. And Facebook.com/realsplatter, YouTube.com/realsplatter, Twitter.com you guessed it, realsplatter. And most currently, you can find me in the Metro, where I am battling hordes of mutants.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. And, of course, we have the creator of the Horror Syndicate, the president, Razor. Ray, good evening.
Hey, good evening, everybody. You can find me on Instagram at Razor33. Back to you, Brian.
All right. Thank you very much. So tonight's episode, we're going to talk about horror movies, and we're also going to talk about the new documentary that's on Shudder right now called Horror Noir, where it takes a look back at black horror movies for Black History Month, and we talk about our favorite black horror movies that have come out throughout the years, and of course, we'll talk other movies that are horror as well. Get into horror video games and all that sort. But hey, my name's not Ray Merrick. Let me change that real quick. Okay, there we go. I had his name underneath my face, so it happens. But yeah, so starting off with, if you have not seen Horror Noir on Shudder, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic documentary that interviews famous black horror directors and actors and producers, and they talk about all the movies that have come out, since the early age of film. And to this day, how it's just kind of a little bit desensitized, but now it's coming back with movies such as Jordan Peele's newest movie. I know that Us is touching on it as well, and his movie. What was the name of the movie? That he did?
Get Out.
Get Out. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of it.
Get Out.
I've seen this movie like twice already, but I don't know. It is what it is. There was that guest slideshow. There we go. Ganja and Hess, which I did not see. I know Jared saw that. That's with Dwayne Jones, who was played Ben in Night of the Living Dead. I thought the documentary was pretty cool. It kind of, it answered a lot of unasked questions about, how did, the modern Black culture feel about these movies that were representing, them all these years. And it really wasn't until, the 70s during the Blaxploitation era where they started showing the real, lives of like through urban settings. And of course, Blackula did a fantastic job representing this and, making the lead guy, the villain, but he's also like the hero and the person that you're rooting for. And of course, they went on to make Ganja and Hess and Scream, Blackula Scream. And they went into like the crazy movies came after like Blackenstein, which was not very good. I have seen that. It's just one of those movies where you watch and you don't know what's going on. It's kind of like that movie Dracula versus Frankenstein. If anyone has seen that movie, it's probably unwatchable. But we get into it. I wanted to ask you guys, how did you feel about watching that documentary?
I liked it. I thought it was far too short, if that makes sense. I feel like they could have covered it a little bit more in depth. I mean, it was pretty in depth. I caught it like I was looking forward to it. I love documentaries as a whole, and I was pretty impressed by it overall. It had some great people on the panel, like Tony Todd and Jordan Peele, and just a number of people. I can't remember the guy's name, but the man who directed Blackula was on there, and Tales from the Hood. I can't remember his name, but it was a pretty good doc.
Candiff, I think, was the guy who directed Tales from the Hood.
Yeah. Okay. And the second one apparently, which I've heard is not very good.
It wasn't. There's some okay segments, but overall it was not great.
Yeah, the first one was great. But yeah, I mean, had all kinds of people, and there's I don't know if anybody's watched the it's now available on Shudder, Eli Roth's History of Horror, but there's a couple people on there, of the panel members on that documentary. It's like a 7 or 8 part documentary.
Another fucking reason for me to get Shudder.
I do suggest, because it's actually good, no matter how you feel about Eli Roth or Rob Zombie. It's funny because Rob Zombie's on it too, but he barely says a word. It's like Rob Zombie, Eli Roth, and Greg Nicotero, and Rob Zombie barely says a thing through like 7 or 8 episodes. But anyway, it has a few of the panel members from that on there as well. It's a good doc overall. I would love to see what they cut out, because I'm sure they have hours of footage. In Shudder, I don't know why they didn't just go balls to the wall. We didn't need a 4-hour doc like, the Nightmare on Elm Street or the
Crystal Lake Memories or whatever.
Yeah, but 2 hours would have been good.
How long was it? Like an hour?
An hour and a half, I think. It was like an hour and 24 minutes or something like that. It's like they start really getting into the goods, in the doc, and it feels like it was shortened a little bit, if that makes sense. Like not cut off, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was long enough.
Almost like they
left stuff out.
Yeah, almost like they didn't touch on stuff enough.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Almost rushed, but overall it was pretty good.
I've heard good things about it.
Well, yeah, anyone has Shudder, I suggest it, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have Shudder, but I've heard a lot of good things.
But you are a Shudder bug, from what I hear.
Well, that's what they say.
Ooh.
So, guys, just kind of dick around for a minute. I stopped our live feed.
Okay, that's what happened. I was going to say we don't have any viewers.
No, I just stopped it because they blocked all of our viewers in America because the trailer plays the song "I Got 5" on it, and
weirdest hip hop song blocks everybody.
Yes.
Wait, Facebook Live blocks things live?
Yes, if a song plays, that's copywritten.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But out somewhere and something is playing.
I disputed it, and it said it was going to take a few hours to dispute it.
It's a live video. What the?
It's a live video with trailers that are public domain?
One of our viewers says we're still live on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
So we're still live on YouTube. So we can keep going with the show and it'll be on YouTube. And
let's keep doing it.
Are you just going to redo a live video?
No.
Okay.
That's so weird because there was dialogue going on in that trailer when I Got 5 on it was playing in the background.
It doesn't matter.
And then it even slows down and it sounds morphed. It doesn't even sound like the song.
And then, not to mention, we've played the trailer like straight up before Brian had it.
It's because it's live. It's because it's live and there's music. And I didn't say I don't have permission to use this song. I Got 5 on it. But we played the trailer, so I don't know why trailers are a problem. But it is what it is. But we're back on Facebook land. YouTube, if you're on YouTube, you've been watching us. Facebook, sorry about that. We are back. Apologize for it. Everyone in the United States was banned from watching it, and the same with Uruguay and Canada and the Pacific Islands.
And 5 countries. The horror.
No, eight countries.
It's so specific. And Uruguay.
Ray, we're gonna have to make like 5 different titles for this episode then.
I know.
It's gotta be like an Italian horror movie.
Exactly.
Well, let's make it like an Italian horror movie because those are my favorites.
Well, I mean, shit. I didn't know that I was gonna be live tonight on Demon 7. So
this is actually Demons 8. AKA Zombie 3.
All right, so now we're getting viewers again. Those who are coming in late. The trailer Us had the song I Got 5 on it, and the Facebook copyrights picked it up kind of like you do with the Shazam app, where you can track the music just by hearing it, and it tells you the name of the artist and what year it came out. Well, there's a whole library, and Facebook uses that. So it doesn't matter if you play movies such as Deadpool on Facebook Live, but as long as you're using a song that is copywritten, by another company, they'll shut you down. So I apologize for playing trailers that are pretty open to the public before our podcast. So we're back to it. We're talking about Black History Month and the Black horror movies that have come out within since a very early age of film, and the horror documentary Horror Noir, which is currently on Shudder. It's a fantastic documentary. Ray, you were saying it's short.
Yeah, I just think it may be the documentary snob in me, in which Mike, Jared, all 3 of you guys could probably relate. I wanted more, and I thought it could have been longer. It should have been at least 2 hours. It came in like maybe under an hour and a half, but it was a good documentary overall. I liked a lot of the panel. I loved. Well, one of the cool things was Keith David, or is it David Keith? I always get the names backwards because
Keith David.
Yeah, so he and oh shit, I just had his name on the back and on my tip of my tongue. Ken Faree were in like talking together. They were together, and those 2 together probably would have been the best thing to see. I would have just watched the whole documentary of those 2.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Isn't your muted picture with Keith David, Brian?
Yes, it is.
That's what I thought.
I don't know if I can show it. Hold on. There we go.
There he is. Nice.
Funny story about that was I did one of the most original sins you can do at a horror convention. He was walking back to his apartment, and I didn't get a picture with him because I had no money. And I stopped him and I said, "You mind if I get a picture with you? I love your work." And he said, "Okay." And he wasn't really happy about it, but he said, "Sure," because he loves his fans. And then I gave him my business card, which was the radio station, and it also had my my headshot at the time on it. And I said, "I'm an actor. I'm like, do you have any work coming up? Put me in your movie." And he laughed and he said, "Okay, thank you for this," and walked away. It has been 9 years. I have not heard back from Keith David. I'm sure he threw the card out.
Yikes. Well, he's gonna be at Scares That Care this year, so I'll pass along another card for you. Be like, "Hey, remember Brian? Hey, got a free picture of you when you were walking away. Give you his business card."
I'm gonna go to Scares That Care, and I'm gonna share a bottle of JB with him, and I'm just gonna stare deeply into his eyes.
All you need to do, Brian, is try to force him to put on some sunglasses.
That's right.
Meet him in an alley and try to get him to put the sunglasses on.
Can I force feed him JB as well? I'm sure he'll love that.
Do both.
Okay.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
The time I met Keith David.
Yeah, I harassed Keith David and gave him a business card.
That's wonderful.
Like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm gonna have to, like I said, guys, I'm gonna bail out of here a little early tonight. So I'm gonna give you my favorite movies, the genre, real quick, so I can get my piece in before I have to get out of here. But Ray had already mentioned Tales from the Hood, which is an absolutely phenomenal anthology film by Rusty. It's Rusty Candif. Is that his last name? Candif. I
don't know how to pronounce it, but that's about right.
Yeah. So I apologize to him for mispronouncing his name, but that movie is so fucking brilliantly directed and written and acted. Like everything about that movie is like amazing.
He's actually in it too.
Yeah, he is. He's a really good actor too. He did Fear of the Black Hat. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking
that movie.
Fried. But it's really it's an excellent movie, and I think that what I like so much about it is that it's under the guise of like really campy, like shit. Like you think it's gonna be like super goofy, but it actually tackles a lot of social issues like really, really hard, and it's played very, very straight, and they have a lot of really, really important things to say in it. Especially the last segment, which is genuinely disturbing, and I really love the abuse segment that he stars in with David Allen Greer. I thought with the monster is a really, really excellent bit. We had talked about Blackula and Blackula Scream. Both movies are very close to my heart. My favorite, though, is from Ernest Dickerson. It's Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight, which is just, in my opinion, a fucking flawless movie. That movie is so unbelievably, amazingly good. And Ernest Dickerson is such a great fucking director.
He's in the documentary, too.
Is he?
Yeah.
With the guy from Tales from the Hood,
So he directed a whole shitload of Walking Dead episodes.
Yeah, he did. He also directed the V Word for Masters of Horror.
And Surviving the Game.
Doom 3 in it, which is really cool. But he also directed a movie that I think is criminally underrated with Snoop Dogg called Bones, which is actually like really, really excellent. And I
haven't seen that in years.
It holds up pretty well.
It's on Shudder.
There's some great fucking effects work. It's super atmospheric, and I never in my life thought I'd say this, but Snoop Dogg did an excellent job in that movie. Like, he was genuinely great in that role.
He talked about how he had to kiss Pam Grier.
Yeah.
That must be tough for him.
Yeah. Well, he was apparently super shy about it.
Well, it's fucking
I'm looking over his filmography. He's directed a lot of television. He did 7 or 8 episodes of Dexter.
Wow.
Yeah, House of Cards, all kinds of stuff.
He's a fantastic director. He really is. I would love to see him getting more work. I really, really dig his stuff. And then, of course, Candyman, which is like one of the other greatest movies ever made. Like, and actually, what you were saying, Ray, about that documentary being too short. If anything, I think that by shedding some light on some of those movies and actors, people might go out and check out like the beautiful special edition Blu-rays that have been coming out, like the Candyman from Scream and Arrow. There's entire little documentary segments of Tony Todd talking about what the black audience thought of the movie and how they finally had their own villains. So he has a lot of really cool stuff to say about that, so it kind of fills in some of those gaps, I'm sure. So that's really interesting.
That's cool.
And then the last movie is I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw it on Comet TV at work, so I've only seen about 3/4 of it. It's really fucking cool. I've been trying to track it down. It's called Sugar Hill. With like
that's a great one.
These fucking whacked out zombies with like chrome eyes and shit. It's so fucking creepy. And it's billed as like a drama, like crime thriller. When I
not to be confused with Sugar Hill with Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, not the new one, or Demolition Man. But no, that's a really, really cool movie. Stuff in it, which I think is really, really badass. So anyway, those are my top picks. Oh, and of course, Serpent in the Rainbow. I forgot about that because that's another brilliant movie. About voodoo and Haitian zombies.
Yeah, Haitian zombie. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so there's my bit. A very, very abbreviated and quickly ranted bit. But there you go.
I've actually only seen part of Blackula. The first 5 minutes were kind of hokey, and then But like once it actually started going, like I'm about halfway through, and it's a lot better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it's a genuinely good movie. Is it not Neil Marshall? What is Marshall? What's the main guy's name? I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
I can't fucking remember. He's great. I got to see a double feature of Scream, and Blackula at a convention when I was a kid. They had it on 16 millimeter or 35 millimeter. They were projecting it. It was really, really fun. That's how I saw them for the first time. So they've always had a soft spot in my heart for those movies because of that.
Those are movies that just flew under my radar. Totally. And isn't Pam Grier in the second one?
Yes.
Yes. I was going to say, I believe so.
William Marshall is Blackula.
William Marshall, that's what it was. Yeah, he died a few years back.
It's too bad.
Yeah, he was a good actor.
And like while we're on the topic, like we can we've done this before in a past podcast, but we always can spotlight, Dwayne Jones in Night of the Living Dead, getting a lead role, George Romero giving him a lead role and how much impact his character had in that movie. Like that always stands out to me as a big one when we talk about black horror movies, because back then, directors just weren't casting them. And what did you say, Brian, in a previous podcast? George Romero just casted the best actor for the role.
He casted Dwayne Jones because he thought he had the best audition that day. It wasn't a picture of black or white or anything like that. And it wasn't until they were driving to New York to get the film edited when Martin Luther King was assassinated, and they heard it on the radio. And
that's a great story.
Yeah, and I think they like John Russo and George Romero realized that the movie that they had was going to be significant to the time. And if only they didn't originally have their name called Night of the Flesh Eaters, I'm pretty sure that Night of the Living Dead probably would have made them a shitload of money, and the zombie genre would have changed immensely. But we're here where it is because of it, and Dwayne Jones will go down in infamy as being Ben. I mean, Tony Todd did a great job portraying Ben.
Tony Todd did an excellent job in the remake. Yeah. And a lot of people shot that remake, but I loved his character in that movie. I love his character in the original too, of course, but I really dig the remake a lot. I love Tony Todd. I'd watch him eat fucking cereal. Like, I love Tony Todd so much.
I do too, actually. That's what I said it. I think I said it last week, but the commentary on Candyman, just listening to him talk, I could listen to him talk for hours. Tony Todd.
Victim.
Yeah. We were watching. Helena watched some of the documentary with me and my 5-year-old daughter, because she's all about knowing things about horror, and she kept looking. She's like, "That's Candyman." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "What does he say?" I was like, "I don't know. What does he say?" She goes, "Be my victim." Like that. I'm like, I love you so much. She's going from Bud of Chud to she's going to be Candyman. So, anyway,
that's good.
Alan. I love Tony Todd. He was one of the actors I wanted to meet at Horror Hound a couple years ago, and there was almost nobody there I wanted to meet but him. And every time I'd go by his table, he was gone. And finally, on my way out, I did not even have time, but I walked past this table. This motherfucker is giant. Have you ever seen how tall he is?
Yeah, I've been to a lot of shows.
Oh my God. It was like, because I was like, I may be able to stop, and then I saw him. I was kind of like, whoa, maybe I don't want to stop because you're so damn tall. But
if you've ever met Ken Foray, that motherfucker. No,
I know he's tall too.
He is like a fucking. I just was like, I looked up. He shook my hand when I met him the first time. I have a picture. His hand went up to past my wrist when he shook in my hand. It was like a fucking frying pan sized hand. He is fucking monstrous. I was like terrified. And he was like, when he would laugh, it shook the table. He has like this fucking bellow. But he is like the sweetest person I've ever met. He was so fucking nice to me. And I was terrified to meet him. I was so nervous because he's fucking, Dawn of the Dead, man. He's fucking Peter. Like,
it's funny.
He's been on my
he was
list
like my hero when I was a kid. I'm like, you were the biggest badass of all time.
It's funny being a child of the '90s because I first saw Ken Faree as the dad in Kenan and Kel, and then as I got a little bit older, I watched Dawn of the Dead. I'm like, this guy looks familiar, and I'm like, holy shit, are you kidding me?
Well, that's what's nuts is I never made the connection until I was like 20. And then I met him again and I said, who loves Orange Soda? And he just looked at me and he's like, how the hell you know about that show? I was like, oh my God. So if I had the $30 to blow, I'd get him to sign a thing of Orange Soda because that would just be the fucking funniest thing in the world. But I wonder how often he gets that. He probably gets that a lot now.
That's great. I met him at Bizarre AC too. He's a very humble guy. He was there, and so were a few of the other actors who played zombies. In fact, Ken was the only big named actor from Dawn of the Dead. But he was there, and they did like a Dawn of the Dead shooting that I never did. I kicked myself in the face because Dawn of the Dead's like my fourth favorite horror movie. And, he was just a big guy, and he was very nice. One of the sweetest people at the entire convention. And it was a shame because the Bizarre AC that was going on that year, not a lot of people went to it. So it was like walking around a ghost town with celebrities just sitting there like, look around on their phones and stuff like that. But, the second day was a little more active. That's when we shot that trailer. And we shot that trailer directly across from the Dawn of the Dead trailer, or from the Dawn of the Dead table where they had the actors sitting. Oh. So it was really cool. I'm glad that Ken Faree got to watch me being filmed. So that was...
Did you give him a business card?
I should have gave him the business card. The business. But yeah, no, I mean, Dwayne Jones doing an excellent role as Ben, definitely highlighted, the start of, black heroes and black heroines. And when you watch that documentary on Shudder, they always go back. Like everyone you talk to goes back and talks about Night of the Living Dead being a staple. Mm-hmm. They say that. Groundbreaking. Yeah,
that's cool.
And then because the way that black actors were always perceived, or they're perceived as kind of like the sidekicks to making sure that the white actors got their goals accomplished,
or the servants.
And that was the very beginning. They were seen as servants. And there was a movie called out in the very beginning of the time of film called Birth of a Nation, which was this like huge, big budget racist movie that I think it got banned in a lot of places.
It was like 4 hours long, silent film.
Yeah, and all the black actors, all the black actors were in black, or white people in blackface. And it was just, it really, if you watch it today, it really represents a time that it was just so horrific. And, there's history there, though. And the history of it evolving.
Phone course. Yeah, the KKK come in as the heroes. It's uncomfortable.
It's very whack.
Guys are assholes.
So, off that, sorry, I just looked at Facebook. Our own Chuck Ransford says, I desperately want Tony Todd to host Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries reboot.
Oh, man.
How amazing would that be?
Him with a duel, and like him as a double with Gilbert Gottfried would be the best transition for any type of Unsolved Mysteries. Them both together.
They should have Gilbert Gottfried be like all the, when they do the scenes where it's acted out. Like, what do they call that?
The reenactments.
The reenactments.
Gilbert Gottfried be every actor. It's a one-man show. Gilbert
just wearing different wigs.
That would be
one of the scenes he's dressed as a parrot.
Oh my god!
See, that would be interesting because Tony Todd's voice kind of is like Robert Stack's voice. I could listen to him in any situation. Like Robert Stack when he was alive, like I could listen to him like do a cooking show. Just in that voice he did in Unsolved Mysteries, and Tony Todd has that voice too, where he just like anything he does.
Well, he adds credibility, like he just has weight to him, like he just makes things feel real. It's like Ossie Davis in Bubba Hotep, who played, he's playing JFK, Black Man. JFK. Fucking brilliant performance, and they wanted him for Don Coscarelli, so they wanted him for the role because he's the only man that could sell this, and it's true. Like I believe every fucking word of it. I didn't even question it the first time I saw it. I'm like, of course he's JFK.
Yeah.
He is so fucking, oh my god, he's so good in that movie. He makes me cry every time I watch it. It kills me. I love such a fucking.
He is good in that movie.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my favorite, in fact, my favorite horror movie that really shined a light on, of course, the urban setting and the Black community urban setting will be, I believe, 1990s Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs. And not only was this a movie that really shined a light on the urban setting, but your hero was a kid. And Brandon Quinton Adams, I believe his name is.
Cool.
The first time I've seen him was on a Schoolhouse Rock video, and then I saw him in The Sandlot. Later on.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and then he's in People Under Stairs, and he's cursing up a storm. And People Under Stairs is one of those movies that we will never see again, unless it's indie. I don't think that we're ever going to get a big budget
movie. I just revisited it like a couple of years ago, and I was like, "Holy Christ!" I did not remember it being this fucking weird.
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking out there.
And it was really
has a collector's edition of that out.
Yeah,
it was.
Right.
I don't have it yet, but I'd like to get it. Yeah,
it was really cool to see Everett McGill and Robbie. I think her name was Wendy Robbie or something. And they originally were a couple in Twin Peaks, and to see them like that year, they became a couple and People Under the Stairs. So it's like night and day difference when you see them together. Everett McGill plays an incredible villain.
He's just a great actor overall, I think.
Yeah, he was awesome in Silver Bullet. And People Under the Stairs, he took that role and he ran with it as some type of incestual, cannibalistic landlord. And
he put on a gimp suit and ran with it.
He ran in it, really.
It's just a really fun movie too, and it just builds up a lot of suspense and horror. Wes Craven, really didn't shine, in the beginning of the 90s because he just got done doing like his movies in the 80s, and he brought Shocker, yeah, and that didn't really resonate with a lot of people. Now it's a cult classic. But then he did People Under the Stairs, and then he did Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, and then, of course, Scream, which was the one that really brought him back into the eyesight of horror, because Scream is just a great slasher movie. I don't know about the sequels; they were okay, but people
also ignored the black actors. There was in the first one there was none, and in the second one it was just like you said. Her roommate was to help Sydney, and then the two Jada Pinkett and who's the other one? The other guy,
Omar Epps.
Omar Epps, yeah, they were just cannon fodder for the beginning of the movie,
Wait, Jada Pinkett was in which one was she in?
The second one, at the very beginning.
At the very beginning, when they were seeing the movie Stab in the theater.
Yeah. Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
No, Nightmare on Elm Street, as far as I can remember, I mean, there was Kinsagos, who I met.
Yeah, I was like, what are you guys talking about?
I forgot about
too. Yeah, Jada Pinkett's great in Demon Knight, too. She's fucking awesome.
No, she's wonderful in Demon Knight.
Yes.
That's one of her best roles.
I'm glad she had that role, because Scream 2 didn't really do her any justice. It was just kind of like a cameo.
Did you hear them talk about how they weren't sure about how she would do in the role with the blonde hair, because she cut her hair and dyed it blonde right before they started filming, and it surprised everyone.
Yeah, Demon Knight's a fantastic movie. Yeah. I've always been a huge fan of Tales from the Crypt, and when Demon Knights came out, I've always loved Ernest Dickerson as a director. One of my favorite movies from him is Surviving the Game with Ice-T and Rutger Hauer.
Fucking A right, man. Nobody knows that fucking movie.
No, it was Ice-T, not Mario Van Peebles. Damn it.
Based on a great fucking short story, The Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah.
But goddamn, I love that movie so fucking much, dude. I watched it. I used to have it on video as a kid. I was fucking. Oh my god, Gary Busey and fucking
It was Rutger Hauer, right?
Ice-T or Ice Cube?
It was Ice-T.
Ice-T is so good in that movie, and fucking Rutger Hauer's in it. Like, Oh my god, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to get it signed by Gary Busey, but he was charging like $50.
I have Gary Busey's best movie right here. Hold on, let me grab it for you real quick.
Oh Lord.
There we go. It's up here. It's up. Oh, I found it. I found it. It's a double bill with one of his worst movies because he's not in it.
Oh, God.
Ginger Dead Man.
Oh, Christ.
The best Gary Busey movie ever made.
Oh my God.
It's 5 minutes of Gary Busey screaming in a restaurant and then him voicing a bucktooth gingerbread man.
Hey, on that delightful note, I have to get out of here, guys. I apologize to the audience who won't be able to see 19 more minutes of my clever witticisms, but I will see you next week. And good night, boys.
Good night.
Good
night, Mike.
Say bye to Ray for me.
I'm right here. Bye-bye.
But so yeah, I mean we've covered the ground of a lot of black horror movies. What are your favorites there on Facebook land as we talk more about this topic?
Mike named all the good ones.
He did.
Well, yeah, that's part of the problem. There's only a few that stand out, like Tales from the Hood, Blackula, and Get Out now, which I can't wait to see Us. I'm really excited to see what that's going to be about.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, Get Out kind of ushered in a future because we have his new movie Us, and then Ma, who is I think it's produced by Blumhouse. I don't know who directed it, but the trailer is freaking crazy. Have you guys seen it?
It's making Jordan Peele in demand in the horror world.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Peele is supposedly hosting the new Twilight Zone on CBS. Yeah. He's the new Rod Serling. But I think it's only going to be streaming on CBS All Access, so it's not going to be like on national television, which is stupid.
Do you think that Twilight Zone could actually, hold itself compared to all the newer shows that have come out that have, pretty much copied off the Twilight Zone and Twin Peaks and the X-Files and that are just a little bit more superior? Do you think the Twilight Zone can make a great comeback?
Yes. It would be better if they put it on actual TV rather than some bullshit app that you have to pay, because there's a lot of people already complaining that they're not going to pay for it. I might, because I think Jordan Peele's the right guy at the right time to bring this back, to help bring it back and host it.
Yeah, but I would hate to see it get canceled.
It probably will, because it's on their exclusive app that nobody wants.
They should have did Shudder. They should have did Shudder. They should have.
I know. I mean, that's why we're getting a Creep Show on Shudder. I mean, that's Shudder.
Oh my God!
Do that.
I can't wait. That's Greg Nicotero is the showrunner for that, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
One of the things that drove the original Twilight Zone was like what major actor is going to be in the next episode. And from the trailer I saw, it looks like they've got a couple of decent, relevant actors. He's from Parks and Rec. Smith, last name Smith. Adam Scott. Yeah, he was in
one of the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of familiar faces in the trailer I saw for it. So, I mean, that's got something going for it, because that's one of the things I remember from the original Twilight Zone.
That's part of why I want to check it out, is because it looks like they may recreate a couple episodes. I like Adam Scott quite a bit. He was in that Netflix movie, Little Evil, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, where he's raising these son of Satan, right?
Yeah.
Damien.
By the way, Brian White says the new 10-episode series of Stephen King's The Stand is going to be on streaming CBS All Access, so that might be another reason to check it out.
Yeah, I would probably.
You're making a play for horror.
I like the original Stand. I like the book. I think that there's the book that came out called Swan Song, and it just I think I can't remember the author's name, Robert McCormick or something like that. Robert McCammon. But I would check it out, Swan Song. It's kind of like The Stand, but a little more grotesque and a little more horrific, and it goes into more like more demonism instead of like the quest between good and evil. I don't know. I would check it out. It's a good book. It's about 2,000 pages long.
What's it called?
Swan Song.
Swan Song.
Mm-hmm.
Or if Brian's read that. Brian reads a lot of books, apparently.
I used to read a lot of books, and now I just read a lot of.
He just answered. He said Robert McCammon.
Robert McCammon. That's what I thought. Oh, you're talking about Brian White.
Yeah,
I do read a lot of books. I just don't read paper books. I read a lot of stuff on my phone.
I read a lot of comics.
I watch a lot of horror movies and play a lot of video games. But how would you guys feel if I did like a video game streaming channel?
Like on Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch, Facebook Live. Twitch, you don't. Yeah, I guess Twitch gets a percentage of like, of what you make. But I want to be more, easier to access. I think Twitch, you need an account to go on and watch people play.
I have no idea. I mean, go for it. Why not? You never know. Let's try something.
But anyway, back to all the stuff that's going on today. We had People Under the Stairs was my favorite. Jared, which one was your favorite?
Well, I mean, I honestly didn't think about Demon Knight being a part of that genre of black horror, but bringing out Ernest Dickerson directing and Jada Pinkett Smith basically being the lead role in that, like, I'd have to say that's probably my favorite. Candyman's really up there. We discussed Night of the Living Dead being kind of like not necessarily a trailblazer, but something that kind of set off a change in the industry. I mean, that's a staple in any horror fan's collection.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impressed with Get Out, and I'm very, very excited to see what his new movie is going to do, because that trailer looked fucking crazy.
It looks different, too.
Yeah, it looks fresh. It looks original. Like, it's not something like. Same with the way Get Out was. I mean, it was.
I was gonna say, and that's the thing about Jordan Peele. He's not just bringing in, black-led movies or whatever. He's bringing in new things, new ideas that we might not have. Get Out was something completely different. It wasn't just a black-led movie. It was just completely different. And I hope that Us is the same way.
Yeah, that and Ma. I want to see Ma. That movie looks crazy as hell.
I have to look that one up. I haven't seen that trailer yet.
Seen the trailer for it?
Yeah, trailer looks great. I gotta find out who's in it. Ma. It's
gonna be like a psychological thriller because
Octavia Spencer. She's not even top billed, and she's like the star of the movie.
Yeah, she's like the main character in it, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like four or five kids that are underage and they want to go out and party, and they find Octavia walking through the parking lot and ask her if she could buy them alcohol. And she reluctantly agrees, but then she comes with this caveat: "Hey, you guys really want to party? Follow me." And she brings them back to her house, and they start partying, and it just escalates from there. And like, it's totally not what I expected from a trailer. It looks really crazy.
Her and I have the same birthday.
Ooh.
The one scene
she was in The Shape of Water too, which is somewhat horror, I guess. I don't think it is.
Creature from the Black Lagoon meets 50 Shades of Grey. What was I about to say? There's a scene in the Ma trailer that reminds me exactly of Sleepaway Camp 2, where she's just kind of in the room sitting there, and she's surrounded by all dead bodies that are like all like surrounded. I don't know if they're dead or they're unconscious. I think they're dead. That would be cool if they're dead.
That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
They showed quite a bit in the trailer, but it's like basically she brings them downstairs to her basement, says, "You guys can party, do whatever the fuck you want to in my basement. Just don't go upstairs." And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
No,
I was that I always like movies like that where you know that you shouldn't be going somewhere, but you end up going to that place, and then it just kind of just rewrites everything that you've known, and to like not like expect the least of horrific events that could happen to you, but then these horrific events happen. You just don't know. I always like movies like where you can't figure out what the hell's going on, or you go in thinking you know what's going on, like Summer of '84, where you thought you knew what you were watching until the last 15 minutes of the movie, and then you just get your feelings hurt, but it's a great movie.
Yeah,
that's a good thing, though, I think.
Yeah, it is.
You know, that means you have feelings invested in it.
Yeah. Because you grew up watching movies like Monster Squad and The Goonies, and you know, of course you have Stranger Things, which is kind of like, you know, mirroring what's going on, but then you have that ending where it's just like you don't really know what's going on, and then when it happens, it's like the reality of growing up hits you hard, and that's just how they ended it. But you know, it's nice to see that, you know, a lot of movies, especially a lot of black horror movies, have done that too. Throughout the years, there really is no happy endings in like these movies that you see, and I think they mentioned
sometimes though.
Yeah, and they mentioned in Get Out, like how at the very end of the movie, you think that the main character is going to get shot by the police, but it's his friend who saves him at the very end. So that had me on the edge of the seat, like after he's been through all of that just to get shot by the police at the end, and it really shows you what we're accustomed to. You know, with the news media and watching movies, and you think that something's going to happen, but it doesn't.
You kind of build it up your mind to anticipate what's going to happen, and it changes.
Well, I wanted to touch on women in horror a little bit, but we don't have that much time.
No, we could go a few minutes over. We started a little late.
Go for it.
Give me 1 second. Sorry. Just relax. Go ahead. I told her to clean up the living room because she made it a mess, and she's like, I haven't finished it yet because I forgot. I'm like, okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I feel kind of we haven't done. I mean, we had Jen on last week, which she asked me after the show. She's like, "You don't talk much, do you?" It's like, I don't know, but I don't know. I wanted to just throw out there a couple of women I love, like Amanda Wyss. Jared got to see me nearly faint at Horror Hound.
Where you were geeking out a little bit.
Dude, I about died. I was getting hot. I felt like I was playing a first-person shooter. I was getting hot. And felt like the room was spinning. And then Heather Langenkamp, who I got to meet also. You know, it's just some of my favorite women in horror that, especially with Heather and Lisa, were more like heroes to me growing up than just women in horror, you know. And I told Heather that at the show that she was more like a hero to me than just another scream queen or whatever, you know. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. What about you guys? Anybody?
Yeah, what about you, Bry guy?
Sorry, I apologize. Facebook turned live off for a hot minute, and we're back on.
Right when I was getting emotional.
I know. I think my wife pointed out that my favorite woman in horror is going to be Jennifer Tilly, and I think a lot of it had to do with The Bride of Chucky, but I guess I have this thing for short women with squeaky voices and big boobs, which is, you know, I guess it's something that it just happened to me. I guess that's my preferred type of women, and I guess Jennifer Tilly takes the cake for that. So she's my favorite women in horror. You know, there's plenty of them that, you know, have you know, done a lot of things for me over the years, like me buying their movies and, you know, buying magazines where they're issued on. I don't know. I just never really was like interested, you know, in like people like Linnea Quigley. But I like now getting older, it's like you look back, you're like, oh shit, I need that workout DVD. It's a hilarious DVD and everything. I guess other two choices would probably be Christina Ricci. Even she really hasn't done a lot of horror, except I think she did the Lizzie Bourdain show or on Netflix. Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden brought an axe or something like that.
Yeah, and you know, of course, Addams Family. We were all kids when the Addams Family came out, and you know, and
even I was, surprisingly.
And who else? And Winona Ryder. I think Winona Ryder would be the other choice. So it would be those three. That would be my favorite of all time, and that's a '90s thing. I think more likely.
Yeah.
have you guys noticed, like in our recent generation, there isn't like true women of horror anymore? I mean, you have Danielle Harris that's still kind of doing stuff, but I mean, anymore there really isn't like a name you can say.
I wonder if that has to do with the kind of movies that are out nowadays. You know, like the Scream Queen, the Final Girl is kind of not. It's old hat or whatever they say.
Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
wonder if that has anything to do with it.
But I mean, it would be cliche for me to say Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, not necessarily. If that's, I mean, there's no.
She's great. Don't get me wrong, but when I think of somebody,
Tissa Farrow,
Katarina
McCall,
names that you wouldn't necessarily think of because they were only in Fulci films.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
And they're beautiful and they scream great, at least dubbed.
and they scream at just children running at them.
Yeah.
But Adrienne Barbeau is one of the ones I would think of. She's great. She has got a good scream on her.
You know who else I forgot to mention? Anita Peroni from Inferno, and I know she's been in a bunch of other Italian horror films, but that's not a name that you hear all the time.
No.
If we're going back that far,
yeah,
I can't believe she wasn't a bigger part in the movie, but she was in it. Oh, she was also the babysitter in House by the Cemetery.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah.
Oh, she's got them bright blue eyes.
Yeah.
And she was
yeah.
She gives good eye contact.
Dude, those eyes. Those are like Meg Foster eyes. Just so bright.
Meg Foster.
Meg Foster. I haven't seen her in a decent movie since.
What is that?
Since Lords of Salem.
Since Lords of Salem, yeah, she was good in that one, even though she had like a bit part.
As a crotchety old witch.
I didn't really care for 31.
She has not aged well, by the way. She was in Jeepers Creepers 3, and yeah, she's looking rough.
Yeah, but I remember her from They Live and those eyes.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay, I'm trying to think who that is, and
and she was Evil Lynn in Masters of the Universe.
Yeah,
and Blind Fury. No, I love that movie. Well, like a Rucker Hauer kick.
God.
I guess we can just talk about whatever comes to our mind at this point. Just think about all the stuff that's been going on. Ray, who are your favorite women in horror?
Well, I mean, other than the Nightmare Girls.
Yeah. You got Luciano Fulci movies you could talk about.
Well, I mean, I wasn't joking when Katarina McCall or whatever. She's definitely, I love her. She's in
all three of them.
City of the Living Dead, House by the Cemetery, all different roles too.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen 2 movies, Tissa Farrow and Mia Farrow, really, her sister, because she was in Rosemary's Baby, and I loved her role and how she played in Rosemary's Baby. You know, she got divorced from Frank Sinatra while making that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa!
Roman Polanski convinced her to keep making the movie because Frank Sinatra wanted her to quit making movies, but he convinced her to stay on to make the movie, and she did. And he said she'd win an Oscar, but she didn't. But she did a hell of a job. I'm glad she did because I love her in that movie. I'd have to look at my collection and kind of think about it a little bit.
I'm a fan of her son, Pulitzer Prize winning author Ronan Farrow.
Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser. I mean, she was only in 2 movies, but my God,
Hellraiser.
If I think it'd be 10 times worse meeting her because I'm so attracted to her.
She's going to be at NJ HorrorCon if you can make the trip.
Like, I think I would pass out because I'd have a ring in my pocket ready to go. But no, and not just that. As the thing I like about her in the movies is her part as Kirsty, is how she was, out of all those movies, the only person that had Pinhead right in her palm of her hands. You know, she was able to play Pinhead. You know, and I wish they would have went further with her because she could have actually played the lead Cenobite, a female Pinhead, because she does in the comics. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, I'd have to really think on it, but we did Women in Horror on my old website, Nightfall Limited, and I was tasked with Heather Lane Camp, Lisa Wilcox, and someone else. I can't remember. But we also got to show love for Elvira. I mean, she's not exactly a horror actress. She was in one movie, really, but she's definitely a horror icon as a host and whatever. And then, of course, our girls, Morgan, Jenny, even Vicky. She's a woman in horror because she has to put up with the horror of Brian. I don't know. I have to really think about it. Oh, you know who I really loved? And it was, Barbara Crampton. I love her so much.
She seems really nice. Just from how active she is on social media, she seems really nice.
I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, not to mention, she doesn't seem to have aged.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I wish I'd see her in more roles. Like, she's in things sparingly, like Beyond the Gates and
We Are Still Here.
Yeah, and You're Next in a small role. But no, I got to Barbara because I was thinking of Patricia Tallman in A Night of the Living Dead. She was great as Barbara in changing the way that Barbara was portrayed on screen from the original. And then she was like one of the stunt coordinators and stunt people in Army of Darkness. So she's pretty damn awesome too.
Yeah, I think her performance alone made me like the newer Night of the Living Dead.
It's not just hers; it's everyone. The whole cast. I mean, they really went for it. From Tony Todd to Patricia Tallman to what's his name that plays Cooper.
Tom
Towles.
Tom Towles, yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing actor too. He was in House of Thousand Corpses also.
Yeah, he passed away a couple years ago.
But yeah, I mean, that just the entire cast. If they didn't have that cast, that movie might not have worked as well as it did.
No, the special effects were on point. The zombies looked fantastic. I thought the zombies looked better out of all like the remakes and everything. And I thought the zombies were a lot more horrifying in that movie, the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Even though like the Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, the zombies were horrific, but it really focused more on the survivors. And you can just put blood on someone's face and paint their eyes white, but the special effects that went in Night of the Living Dead remake were just superior in every way.
Who was naked in Lords of Salem?
Meg Foster.
Meg Foster. Yeah,
a couple of other witches.
Yeah, Brian White said that. He's also said Jamie Lee is not cliche. He mentioned Sarah Paulson from American Horror Story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's like the linchpin of that entire series. But the only season I really cared for her character was the fucking Coven season. Otherwise, I don't really like Sarah Paulson all that much. She's okay, I guess. But every other season she's in, I don't really care. I like all the other characters. But anyway, I mean, we could go on forever naming all these people off. I mean, I've met the great thing is I've lately gotten to meet a lot of the women in horror that I love. Even Jesus, now I can't remember her name from Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh yeah, we met her at Horror Hound last.
She was nuts, not nuts, but like nutty, like crazy. Fucking Melinda Clark. God.
Yeah.
Who else did we meet? Oh, I met Lisa Zane, who I really liked from Freddy's Dead.
She's also ageless.
She's gorgeous. She doesn't look any different from 1991 when Freddy's Dead came out. Neither does Billy Zane, for that matter.
Yeah, they both looked great.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's women in horror. I think the roles have changed. You know who was great? I got to go back. Evil Dead. The chick that played Mia. What was her name? That's the remake of Evil Dead.
Oh,
the main girl.
Yeah, the one that like got her
she was in that
carries that chainsaw on the neck of the demon. Dude, that is so cool.
She was in that Don't Speak movie or something with the blind guy.
Yeah.
That would be Jane Levy.
Yeah.
She was wonderful in that. So I'm gonna say Tissa Farrow from Anthropophagus. She didn't want to be in that movie. They thought they wanted to hire her because she's Mia Farrow's sister. Anyway, that's what happens when you watch commentaries. I didn't know she was Mia Farrow's sister.
Yeah, that is very interesting because I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
I gotta watch more commentaries. I've been on this kick lately where I've been watching all my movies streaming, and I need to go back to like the physical copies and watch all the extras. There was a big discussion at my job today, and everyone was saying that they're ditching all their physical movies and they're just going to streaming now. And I said, "Oh, cool. Where do you watch all your movies?" And they say, "Well, I have a Fire Stick and that I update."
Oh, so you steal them?
Yeah. And I said, "So you're stealing movies?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it's free." And I said, "To who?" And it's hearing about piracy. And I think piracy, it's not even streaming services, it's piracy that is killing the physical media market. Samsung just dropped out of the competition, making 4K players, Blu-ray players, and of course their lesser DVD players. And it's just kind of a shame to see like this devastating turnout to physical media. And there's a lot of people who are younger saying, "Why would I collect a movie? It's just going to take up space." But I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe because I'm at the tail end of like the young crowd who still collects movies. I don't understand why people need to stream all of their movies or buy movies off streaming when they're the same price on the physical media. Like what happens?
That's the thing about me. Like, so I've been buying a lot of movies on Vudu lately, but I make sure I own them first. If that makes sense. So they throw up deals every week where you can get such and such movie for $5 streaming. So if I have it on DVD already that I already purchased for probably $15, $20, $10, whatever, I'll make sure I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll get the streaming. I've already got the DVD that I've bought, so I bought it twice. I like buying Blu-rays now because they give you the option for streaming. I don't mind having my stuff streaming, but I also want to have a physical copy of it because I collect this stuff. And I don't think physical media is dying as much as we may think it is. I know it is, but it seems like a lot of there's new companies, not new companies, but companies coming up with new great additions for horror collectors, especially. Like Jared, I showed who was it? Ronin
Flick
Opera on Blu-ray, like a big 3-disc special edition.
They're in line with a company called Scorpion Releasing, and they came out with the Psychic just a bit ago. You can find it on Ronin Flicks. It's a Lucio Fulci film. Yeah, so it's I think there's I don't want the medium to ever go away. I get the reason why streaming is better, but streaming also leads to, like you said, piracy. But streaming's better because you don't have to make as many discs and use up whatever. But they still do anyway, So if they're making the shit, why not buy it? My collection, I don't know. Maybe I'm just partial because I like my collection so much. I like looking. I love coming in here instead of like using just my thumb to go through Netflix or whatever. I get to come in here and sit down and look, first of all, at every spine, pull it out, look at the cover art. I get you can read a little bit on the back of it. You can actually feel the product. I'm always about having the physical media. It's like comics. I can't read comics online. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I have the print copy in my hands. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's some of us collectors. I think we're probably the ones keeping it alive because I know most people don't. I like my buddy Jay does pretty much everything digital now, but he's doing it when he can. He gets disc to digital or digital to disc from Vudu, which is really cool. I did that for Halloween, where I was able to buy it on Vudu, and then they shipped me the fucking Blu-ray. Yeah. So, I don't know. One day we're going to live in a time where they won't have these. This will be obsolete completely.
That's crazy. And even video game consoles are now coming out as you don't have to put on a disc. There's going to be like there's going to be no access to put on disc. I know PlayStation 5 is one of those consoles that everything is just going to be downloadable. Like no longer, there really is no such thing as offline playing anymore.
No.
And I don't want to be pushed in this direction, because let's just say something happens in technology where, you know, all this whole digital library just gets lost in like tears and rain, and you know, there's nothing left but, you know, physical copies. And I don't know if I'm starting to sound like a dinosaur saying this, or, you know, to like younger generations that watch the show, but what's going to happen? Like, you know, what if physical media goes out and everything is streaming? It seems like the younger crowds are content with this, and it sucks.
Well, I think about the times that, I mean, my internet is pretty good here, but there are times we have outages for up to 2 days.
Yeah.
What are you going to watch? What are you going to watch when you have internet outage? You know, because it does happen. What happens if the grid goes down completely, like you're saying? I think about that quite often. As long as we have power, I can still watch whatever I want because I have all this. Brian White mentions the book crowd is going back to physical instead of a Kindle, and vinyl is more popular than ever, which it's true. I do think we're starting to see maybe, thanks to Arrow, thanks to Scream Factory and some of these others, a rebirth of collecting physical media. Brian also said that's the video store experience. Yeah, exactly. That's probably why I want the library like this. It's because it's like going into, you know, Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, any of the number of stores that you go into as a kid, and just look through all the movies and get a look at the case and all that stuff. I love that. I could spend hours in a video store just looking around at stuff.
They were I read this interesting article today, and it said that movie theater experiences will never, you know, dull down. Like, you know, of course, I think it all depends on the content that's getting regurgitated, you know, to like the masses and the public. You know, if you have like a movie, like, you know, say any type of movie experience that you experience in a theater, it's going to be a better experience seeing it in the theater than like going home and watch it on DVD. And yeah, I think there was like the article that I was reading was saying that, you know, we're living in a limited time where movie theaters are going to be around for so long, and, you know, we need to, like, you know, start taking for granted that the movie theaters that we have are still here and now, but the price of a ticket is so expensive anymore. And
I don't even mind.
I don't mind either, but it goes back to the whole piracy thing, where no one wants to spend $12 to see a movie in a movie theater and wait. Everyone rather just go home and download a bootleg copy of it from China. You know, it's kind of bullshit. And I wish that the public knew how terrible piracy is. But it seems like nothing's getting done about it. Everyone, you know, I work in a blue collar type job, and everyone is really content with pirating movies, like streaming their pirate movies off the craft.
They don't think of it as actual stealing, which it absolutely is stealing.
Yeah,
100% stealing.
And they don't want to venture off into, like, you know, being, you know, having an appreciation for movies, since they're living in a world where it's football and, you know, work and family and Disney. Like, that was the biggest thing, was Disney. Everyone, when you talk about movies with people, they talk about Disney. And if you see anything on sale for Disney, it's the prices are skyrocketed. Like, they made such a monopoly on all Disney products and movies that, you know, if you go to Disney World, you're spending like a few grand just for you and like a couple other family members just to, like, say you were there. And that's their conversation. Why they don't have money to put out for movies that are coming out. They need their movies, and they want to watch it as soon as they can and not pay a thing for it. And it's just like, I just don't get it. I don't get piracy. Like, it seems like no one has any type of mindset of their own anymore. They just follow this clique, and it's the same thing with seeing reviews on Facebook. Is this movie worth it? And they'll post a movie, or they'll say, like, I'm 5 minutes into this movie, it's kind of boring, should I continue watching it? Yeah, fucking finish the movie, asshole. Like, get off your phone, stop posting on social media, and finish the fucking movie. You know, and then you find out that this person, you know, is watching it from their brother or sister's account on Netflix, or they downloaded a torrent. It just makes no fucking sense. How are these movies a waste of time if first off, if you're not paying to watch the movie, and second off, if you're just, you have something else better to do while you're on your phone. It makes no fucking sense. And I get that going on social media is a big thing, especially when you're watching movies, but take the time and just, if you're going to watch a movie, finish the fucking movie. Don't ask the world if it's worth watching and then save all your money and go to fucking Disney. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Well, speaking of Disney, Brian, you got Frozen 2 to worry about soon.
Frozen 2 is fine. Not worried about that.
You're going to watch it 1,700 times with your daughter.
Yeah, and that's also another thing. I think that, kids, when people have kids, they venture to watch, movies for them instead of movies for themselves.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how many times I watched Frozen this past week and how many times I watched a new horror movie that I bought.
Why do you think I have 2 TVs in my living room?
Well, is that going to be like the modern day family now? I mean, especially with collectors, is it worth just having 2 TVs in your room? What's your experience with that?
I mean, well, the whole point of it was so I could play video games with Elizabeth, so she could be on one TV and I could be on the other. But like now, if Helena wants to watch one of her shows, like Vampirina, for instance, like before the show, I was playing Mass Effect, and I couldn't play Mass Effect. I don't want to monopolize the main TV on a video game. That's the whole point. I don't watch movies while they watch me. That doesn't make sense because you got so much conflicting sound. But I can play Mass Effect with the volume low, or whatever else, with the volume low while she watches her show. That's the whole point of having 2 TVs in the living room, and it doesn't affect the family. We're still there. I pause the game and I'm still able to interact with her and Reynolds, who's kind of sick. And I mean, that's part of the thing. Like when Elizabeth and I got our first apartment, we put the video games in a separate room and we never saw each other. And she absolutely hated that. So she's the one who one day I came home, put the TV in the living room, and she's like, here, now if we want to play video games together, if you want to play, and I can watch something, and it works. It works because we got to talk to each other. We got to do all this other stuff because I wasn't in another room like people in their man caves or my horror room, for instance.
Right.
I do work in here, but like I can be in there with the kids if I want to play video games. It's okay, which I generally try to wait till they're asleep anyway. But if I want to, the option's there. And that came about with Elizabeth. A lot of people will come to my house like, why do you have 2 TVs in the living room? I was like, because I'm a fucking baller. That's why. No. But it works, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. You've been at my house. Reynolds has his gaming area on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
It's a big-ass room. It's a really long room, but, we like being in the same place, so why not? It works out for us pretty well. Reynolds, by the way, speaking of, digital collections and everything, he's already collecting horror movies and movies on his own. He wants physical media. I think one of the things about keep carrying on physical media is teaching as fans, as collectors, teaching our kids, our nieces and nephews. Like my brother-in-law Jake, he's big into collecting, and me and him, we're like trying to tell his kids and my kids, buying this stuff is good. It's good to have collections like this, like books and comics and movies. It's okay to do that. We don't want it to disappear. And Jared, I'm sure you can impress the same thing on your nieces if they like movies. I mean, Reynolds is an odd bird. He likes horror movies. No, he's not odd. I was the same way. So were you probably.
Oh yeah.
By the time I was 9, that's when Dream Child, Jason Takes Manhattan, and Revenge of Michael Myers all came out. So it was like heaven on earth for me. It was when I was 9, going on 10. All these great horror movies, and then the 90s happened and ruined everything for a few years. Although we did get Dead Alive in '92.
I was going to say that one of the first ones that I had growing up was Night of the Living Dead on VHS.
The Ridge?
Huh?
The original?
Yeah, the original. But it was the one that had the extended scenes shot for it.
Mm.
with the
I didn't
priest.
find that until well after I'd seen the remake, and that's how I saw it at a flea market for like $5 while I was on a baseball tournament out of town. We went to a flea market because we had like 3 hours break, and we were walking around this flea market that was close to the ball fields, and I saw Night of the Living Dead. I was like, "Mom, grab this! It's $5," and she bought it for me. And then the game got rained out, so I went home and watched it. That was a fond memory. I was 13, I believe. But anyway, well, what else? You guys want to talk about anything else?
I think that's it for me. We had a late start due to our explicit content that got us banned in 8 countries. So sorry about that, Facebook. my name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright, or you can follow me on Twitter because I am on there sometimes, tagging other directors and actors and not getting any responses from them. But hey, you can see me attempt to try to get the attention of big named celebrities on Twitter at the Horror Jew, or on Instagram where I take some lovely shots of myself. You can follow me there on Brian Enright or Horror Jew as well on there. Jared, where can we find you?
You guys can follow me as always on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on the Twatverse at @zombie_survivor. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. And last but not least, our president and CEO of the Horror Syndicate, Ray Merrick. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Razor33. Twitter, it's Razor_33, but I don't do much. And don't forget to check ScreamTeamReleasing.com to buy your copy of I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday. And they just released pre-orders for a movie called Close Calls, so check that out. Go follow the Cuddles Facebook page. It's Cuddles with a Z. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night. Okay, so we're done.
Hold on 1 sec. I gotta log us out here. Bye, YouTube.